If you've ever sat in the dark scrolling, wondering who you are, and whether people would still love you if you said it out loud, this video is for you. Tonight, we're not just rating hot guys, we're talking about 10 men who paid a price to be honest in public. If even one story feels a little too close to home, stay, breathe, and hit subscribe so you don't have to feel this alone. Ncuti Gatwa, the first queer doctor, the last person allowed to be soft. Before Ncuti Gatwa ever stepped into the TARDIS, he was already carrying a universe on his shoulders. Black, Rwandan, refugee kid, queer, and somehow expected to be flawless just to get half the love mediocre white actors get for free. In 2023, in an LA-UK profile, he finally said it plainly. He identifies as queer and told the story of being at Manchester Pride, dancing through the streets with his friends when he suddenly saw a woman who looked exactly like his aunt. She was Rwandan, confused about why she was even there, and he told her, "You don't need to know. You're here. Be proud." He admitted he'd never met another queer Rwandan person before and thought he was the only one in the world. Now, picture that same man on a red carpet, chest oiled under camera flashes, in a corset or sheer lace top, waist cinched, pearl necklace catching the light, grinning like he owns the planet. He turns every appearance into a small rebellion. Painted nails, tiny tank tops, skirts, jewelry. It's not just fashion, it's a direct attack on the idea that real men must look like a wall. For some fans, he's the sexiest man alive precisely because he refuses to dim anything down: body, joy, or femininity. But the backlash is vicious. The same people who grew up watching a British guy in a silly coat travel time suddenly decide this is too unrealistic. A black queer doctor is where they draw the line. Ncuti claps back. White mediocrity gets celebrated while black people have to be perfect just to stand in the room. He's not just fighting homophobia, he's fighting the idea that he should be grateful for scraps. When he flirts with the camera, shirt half open, hips loose, you can feel the tension. Is he allowed to be this sexy and this political and this unapologetically queer at the same time? Drop 4, tell me below. Is Ncuti Gatwa the future of what a leading man should be? Or do you think the Doctor Who backlash shows the world still isn't ready for this level of queer black hotness? Noah Schnapp, growing up on camera, coming out in 15 seconds. Noah Schnapp came out in the most Gen Z way possible: a TikTok, a trending audio, a throwaway caption that low-key changed his entire life. In January 2023, he lip-syncs to "You Know What It Never Was?" That's serious, and writes on screen that he finally told his family he's gay after 18 years in the closet, and they just said, "We know." The caption underneath: "I guess I'm more similar to Will than I thought," tying his own life directly to his queer character on Stranger Things. It looks light and funny, but rewind the tape. For years before that, journalists were already asking him if he was gay when he was just 12-13, using the excuse of Will Byers' sexuality to pry into a kid's real life. In a recent interview, Noah talks about how invasive that felt, how scared he was to say anything when he hadn't even figured it out himself. While the world debated, is Will gay? They were also quietly forcing a real boy to confront questions he hadn't chosen. Now look at him in 2025. Taller, sharper jawline, open shirt fits at Fashion Week, the shy little kid swapped out for a young man who knows exactly when to smirk at the camera and when to duck away. There's something incredibly tender, and yes, a little bit hot, about watching that transformation, knowing that behind the glow-up is a guy who used his own role as emotional training wheels to come out. Playing Will taught him how to cry on cue, how to break on screen, and eventually how to stop breaking in real life. But here's the uncomfortable part. Did we help him get free? Or did our obsession speedrun his anxiety? Every meme about Will is so gay was also a spotlight on the kid playing him. That TikTok coming out wasn't just a celebration, it was also a quiet verdict on how we treat child stars as content first, humans second. Drop 5, sound off. Do you think the fandom actually supported Noah? Or did the constant speculation push him into a corner before he was ready to speak? Joe Locke, the soft boy who had to teach fans what boundaries mean. On screen, Joe Locke is Charlie Spring, fragile, sweet, permanently on the edge of tears, the kind of boy you want to wrap in a blanket and protect from the world. Off-screen, his reality is way harsher. Joe has been openly gay in his real life since he was about 12, long before Netflix and Teen Vogue ever called. But in August 2023, he finally said the words, "I'm gay," on record for the first time. That should have been a simple, proud moment. Instead, it came wrapped in something darker. Guilt. As Heartstopper blew up, fans didn't just fall in love with Charlie. They went hunting for Joe. People dug up his mother's accounts, sent her messages, tried to track her location. Someone actually found his grandmother's phone number and called her. Joe talks about this weird guilt he feels, knowing his family pays the price for his dream. Imagine getting cast in your first big role, then having to tell your mom to change her socials and explain to your gran why strangers are ringing her just to get closer to you. And still, he shows up glowing on carpets, curls styled just right, slim frame in perfectly cut suits, rings on those long pianist fingers, smiling like everything's fine. There's something quietly sensual in the way he holds himself. Not loud thirst trap energy, but that gentle boy you notice across a theater lobby vibe. Instead of hiding, he doubles down on being unapologetically queer. Pride parades, queer roles, talking about wanting to be Disney's first gay prince and, in the same breath, dreaming of playing a hyper-macho straight-action hero just to break the box people keep him in. Joe's story asks a hard question. When we say we love queer representation, do we actually love the people or just the fantasy? We wanted Charlie so badly that some fans treated Joe's real life like an unlockable bonus level. He had to be the one to say it out loud. He needs boundaries, and so do we. Drop 6, be honest. Where's the line between supportive fan and low-key stalker here? And do you think Joe was right to finally call his own fandom out? Which of these three, Ncuti, Noah, or Joe, hits you in the gut the most? 4. Josh Kiszka, the rock star who slipped a love story into a protest post. For years, Josh Kiszka felt like the most straight-coded queer secret in rocks. Long curls, witchy outfits, that Robert Plant wail, fans were already projecting every fantasy onto him. But in June 2023, when he finally opened Instagram to say something, it wasn't meant to be a dramatic coming out speech. It was supposed to be a political rant. Tennessee, the state he'd made his home, was pushing wave after wave of anti-LGBTQ+ laws, drag bans, attacks on trans healthcare, protect the children panic. He couldn't stay quiet anymore. So he typed about freedom, about love, about how dangerous it is when politicians decide which lives count. Somewhere in the middle of that, almost casually, he drops the real bomb. He's been in a loving same-sex relationship with his partner for 8 years. Those close to me are well aware, he writes. But now, with his state under attack, it's important to me to share publicly and speak my truth. Imagine being that partner, reading those words. 8 years of being the ghost behind the curtain, suddenly pulled onto the stage in one sentence. Fans scream in the comments. Some say they always knew. Some are stunned. Old school metal legend Rob Halford comments that he loves Josh, like a knight passing him a rainbow sword and saying, "Welcome to the war, kid." What makes Josh's story hit different is that he didn't come out for branding or to sell an album. He tied his love life to a law fight. He basically says, if you come for my community, you're coming for me and the person I love. No glossy magazine cover, no perfectly lit boyfriend reveal, just a rock singer, a phone, and a line he's too angry not to cross anymore. Tell me in the comments, was this the queer rock moment you were secretly waiting for? Or do you think Josh should have stepped into the spotlight with his partner fully visible instead of hiding him between the lines of a protest post? 5. Shinjiro Atae, the J-pop idol who whispered, "I am a gay man," into a microphone. Tokyo, July 26, 2023. A free fan event at Line Cube Shibuya. 2,000 people in neat rows, glow sticks ready, merch bags crinkling. They think they're here for a nostalgic night with their former AAA idol. Some songs, some stories, a safe little slice of J-pop comfort. Instead, they get history. Shinjiro Atae walks on stage looking like every soft boy poster you ever pinned to your wall. Styled hair, gentle smile, that carefully polished idol aura. But when he pulls out a sheet of paper, his hands tremble. He starts talking, how he struggled for years, how he couldn't even say the truth to himself, how being an idol meant living inside a glass closet, seen by everyone, known by no one. And then he finally lets the words drop. I am a gay man. 9 letters that cut through decades of J-pop silence. In a country where same-sex marriage still isn't legal, where don't ask, don't tell isn't a policy but a culture, that sentence is a controlled explosion. Some fans burst into tears, others just clap harder, like they can build a shield around him with noise. After the show, he posts on Instagram, saying he doesn't want anyone else to suffer like he did, that living honestly is better than never accepting who you are. He releases a song called Into the Light, because of course he does. What else do you call it when you finally stop living in the dark? You know what hits hardest? Shinjiro isn't a 20-year-old rookie. He's an adult man risking a carefully built career in an industry that still sells fantasy boyfriend who will never belong to anyone but you. By saying, I am a gay man, he breaks not just his own mask, but the illusion that idols don't have lives, loves, and lonely nights of their own. Drop your thoughts. Does Shinjiro's coming out crack the glass for a whole new generation of queer idols in Asia? Or will the industry quietly punish him while pretending to clap along? And if you were in that audience, would you have cried or just clapped until your hands hurt? 6. Jermelle Simon, the gym body, 3 kids, and a sentence that changed everything. If you only knew Jermelle Simon from Netflix's The Upshaws, you'd slot him into a very familiar box. Black, handsome, gym-built, straight dad energy for days. On screen, he's the son who rolls his eyes, cracks jokes, flexes those biceps just enough that you notice. Off screen, his Instagram is all kids, workouts, and that warm, goofy smile people love to project perfect family man onto. So when National Coming Out Day rolled around in October 2024, nobody expected him to log on and blow that box to pieces. In a simple video, no dramatic filter, he thanks his followers for creating a space where he can finally say it out loud. He is a black gay man. That's it. No long essay, no brand deal. Just a sentence that reorders his entire public existence. For black queer viewers, that moment hits like a freight train. How many times have we been told that black masculinity only comes in one flavor? Hard, silent, aggressively straight. And here's this man with 3 kids, shoulders like a superhero, smiling into his phone and casually dismantling that lie in under a minute. A few weeks later, he's posting soft, flirty photos with media personality Obayo Jones, and by spring 2025, the two are engaged. The proposal happening at home, surrounded by his children, the people who actually matter. Of course, the comments are a mess. Some people scream, "I knew it," like it's a game they just won. Some accuse him of hiding all these years, as if being a black man in Hollywood isn't enough of a tightrope already. Others, the ones who really get it, just write, "Thank you. I needed to see someone like me." Because that's what Jermelle did. He put a new image in the world. Not the tragic queer storyline, not the sidekick, but a hot, grown, black dad who loves his kids and his man and refuses to apologize for either. Tell me honestly in the comments, does Jermelle's story make you feel safer about your own? Or does it just remind you how far we still have to go before a black gay family on screen doesn't feel radical at all? And if you were one of his fans from day one, are you staying or were you only there for the straight fantasy? 7. Bane. Just be the idol who came out. Under stage lights, not in a press release. Los Angeles, April 22nd, 2025. A K-pop boy group is on stage, sweat on their necks, the crowd a sea of light sticks and phones. In the middle of it, Bain from Just Be stops the show. The music cuts, the screams dip, and he takes a breath that looks like it's been waiting years. "Tonight, I want to share something with you guys," he says, voice shaking. Then he drops it. "I'm fucking proud to be part of the LGBTQ community. As a gay person." The crowd explodes. Some fans say they only heard 2 words, gay and proud. A minute later, he's singing Born This Way, veins popping in his arms, sweat on his collarbones, telling anyone still hiding that they are exactly how they're meant to be. Under those lights, he isn't just an idol anymore. He's a glitch in the K-pop system, a real human in an industry built on fantasy boyfriends and sealed closets. And that's where it stings. Back home, he's not just that hot guy from Just Be. He's the gay idol in a country where queer people still get told their existence is a phase or a Western infection. You can feel the unspoken questions. Will Korean TV still book him? Will brands still want his face? Will parents yank their kids from the fandom? International fans call him brave, historic, the first openly gay boy group idol. But bravery doesn't pay penalties if the industry turns its back. Behind that one raw speech are years of switching pronouns, dodging questions, smiling through fake dating rumors. On that night in LA, Bain chose truth over safety, real love over marketable love. Drop 7, talk to me. Did Bain just risk his entire career for something bigger than trophies? And would you still stan him if Korea turns its back? 8, Diplo, not gay, in a world that demands you pick a side. Diplo doesn't come out so much as he shrugs out. On Emily Ratajkowski's podcast in 2023, the convo drifts towards sexuality, and he laughs his way into a line that sticks. "I don't want to define that I'm gay, but I think the best answer I have is I'm not gay." A beat later, he casually mentions he's sure he's gotten oral sex from a man, that he's more of a vibe guy than a gender guy, that there are a couple of men he could see himself with long term. The internet does what it always does. Screenshots, edits, outrage threads. On one side, queer folks say, finally, a straight-coded man over 40 admitting sexuality isn't black and white. On the other, people furious that he talks about blowjobs like they're a joke, that he can float in this safe gray zone while kids are still getting kicked out of their homes for less. Is he expanding the spectrum or turning queerness into a party trick? It's complicated because the image is so loud. Shirtless festival sets, tattoos, cowboy hats, Endless Instagram stories, kids at his shows grinding while he stands behind the decks, head down, half smile like he's seen every kind of desire, and decided none of it scares him anymore. He has kids, famous exes, and a career built in scenes that weren't always kind to openly queer men. What if the jokes are just armor? The chaos just a way to talk about curiosity without admitting how much shame he had to swallow to get here? Drop 8. Your turn. Is Diplo's not gay era helping normalize fluidity for straight bros who'd never dare say it out loud? Or is he treating queerness like an aesthetic he can put on and take off between gigs? Does his messy honesty make you feel seen or used? 9. Khalid, the soft boy voice who got outed in front of all of us. Khalid has always sounded like a diary entry you weren't supposed to read. Sleepy voice, late night lyrics, that soft boy R&B that makes you feel like you're alone in the car with your own feelings. So when he finally talked about his sexuality, of course it wasn't in some glossy magazine cover. It was on X in real time after someone else tried to tell his story for him. In November 2024, he drops a rainbow emoji, jokes, "Next topic, please LOL." And when a fan replies, "Hope Mr. Khalid isn't gay," he just shoots back, "I am, and that's okay." Then he posts the line that will live forever. "I got outed, and the world still continues to turn. Let's get this straight, LMAO. I am not ashamed of my sexuality. In reality, it ain't nobody's business. But I am okay with me love, y'all." If you've ever been outed or almost outed, you know exactly how that feels in your stomach. The mix of humiliation and weird relief. The part of you that thinks at least it's over, and the other part that screams, "Why wasn't this my moment?" Watching him handle it with jokes and a little bit of attitude is cute on the timeline, but for people like us, it also hurts. He didn't get a soft cinematic coming out. He got a push, and instead of breaking, he stood there, curls, beard, heavy eyes, and basically told the world, "You don't own me, I do." And if you're still here listening to this, feeling that sting in your chest, that says a lot about you too. You're not just here for gossip. You actually care about what it costs to live honestly. If someone outed you tomorrow, would you be able to stand in it like Khalid did? Or would it destroy you first? And hey, if this story hits home, you're exactly the kind of soul we want on this channel. Hit subscribe so you don't go through this alone. 10. Amorei Lorenzo, the cowboy who chose love over machismo. In Brazil's primetime telenovela Terra e Paixão, Amorei Lorenzo plays Ramiro, a rough, closeted cowboy whose whole body language screams, "Don't touch me," until another man slowly becomes the exception. The country fell in love with that storyline, rooting for two men to kiss on a conservative soap the way they used to root for straight couples. Off-screen, the actor was carrying something even heavier. In 2023, in an interview with Extra, Amorei finally says it out loud. "I consider myself an LGBTQIA+ man. It's possible that in the future I could marry another man, cis or trans, or a woman, cis or trans." He talks about how he's scared of losing work, of being punished for who he is, but then he drops the detail that breaks your heart. As a theater teacher, he had 3 students murdered for being LGBTQIA+, one killed by his own father, another beaten in the street for being with a man. "How can I not be in the fight?" he asks. So when you see him on screen, beard, thick arms, that dangerous little smirk. It's not just a hot cowboy fantasy. It's a man who knows what real violence looks like, choosing to put his own body in the line of fire so some queer kid watching at home doesn't feel alone. You don't have to be Brazilian to get chills from that. If you've ever been scared your job, your family, your safety might not survive your truth, Amorei is playing out your worst fear and your wildest dream at the same time. Would you risk your career and safety the way Amorei did? just so the next generation has someone to point at and say, he's like me? And if you're the kind of person who cries over stories like this and still wants more, you already belong here. Smash that subscribe and stay in this little army of soft, angry, beautiful people with us. If you made it to the end, you're not just here for gossip, you actually care what it costs to live honestly. Tell me in the comments whose story hit you hardest and why. I read everything. If this touched something soft and sore in you, do the free things. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. This little corner is for the too sensitive kids. Here, you're exactly enough.